Cindy Benson here. I have been asked by one of my online course students to evaluate a video for her about her progress with her dogs, and I have decided to do it this way and talk about it and create a recording so that it can be shared with others. So the backstory is, as is common in many situations with livestock guardian dogs, this student's issue is that the property is new to them, I think. The livestock guardian dogs are new. The livestock situation is new. There's not fencing in place for the dogs. So it's back to, if we want animals, do we get the dogs first or do we get the animals? And per Facebook coaching and whatnot, there are some challenges inherent that this owner has been working on solving. These two puppies are female Great Pyrenees puppies. They're adolescent dogs. They started out in their journey with me, both of them tethered into one tether. So there were some issues about how the puppies interacted with each other and with the people. There have been efforts made at changing fencing so that the dogs can be off a tether, and I believe they are off the tether at this point. And they are walked on long lines 2 or 3 times a day, maybe more, by this owner on their property, 2.5 acre property, which is enough to support happy dogs, but it isn't fenced, and they haven't had mammals to this point. I think a couple days after this video was taken, little pigs arrived, and I haven't heard how that's going. So the puppies have been living mostly like companion dogs, confined to a small area, going for walks. This is an inherently stressful situation for the dogs, and the owner knows this and is working at changing it and going through the course. She sent me this video to update me on what she feels like her current problem with the dogs is, that's the most pressing one for her. I haven't watched the video. I'm going to watch it with you, and here we go. Okay, so those are the girls. Christina's going to come in and feed them. The dogs have been challenging about food. They get excited, they compete with each other, and that's what's happening here. So I think I'll stop and talk about this at this moment. Christina knows about teaching the dogs hand targeting. She's been working on teaching them gait manners, which is covered in the course. She's shown them a stop sign hand, which is asking them to back off. She's verbally asked them to back off. So what she's got is a situation where the dogs are too excited to think, and she's trying to just get her job done and feed the dogs. So let's talk, rather than about problems inherent to this life situation for these puppies, but let's talk about triage solutions and realistic expectations, because these puppies are not housed in a way that is compatible with how LGDs need to live. And so they're frustrated, they're wound up, they're a little bit socially desperate. They're a handful, they're hard to manage, and because their brains are not in a good learning place, because they're frustrated and they're wound up, asking more than they can give is a likelihood, because they're not set up well. So if I were in this situation, for instance, if these dogs arrived to me and they came this way and they came all wound up, and I tried to create a step in, I would do hand targeting from outside the fence, up and down the fence, so that I could, like, I would leave that gate closed, I would approach, I would move to the left 3 feet, put my hand out, reinforce the dogs for going there, give them a treat. I would quickly move to the other direction. I would wait for the dogs to come there, show them a hand target, give them a treat. I would move them back and forth and all around, because what's happening here is these dogs' brains are really busy, which is why their bodies are busy. So if you can use a common and easy skill that a dog has been taught as an emotional reset, it can help bring them back to a task that they understand, one that they've been successful in, which interrupts this runaway craziness that the dogs are feeling and brings them back into a learning place where they've been successful. So before I would attempt to walk into dogs that were busy like this, I would work with them from outside the fence until they started to look like they were calm and thinking. They're looking for a big social interaction with Christina. They can't handle it the way she wants them to when she walks in. Food is a stimulus as well. So if I'm going to get the behavior that I want from these dogs, I'm going to set it up so that I can get it. And the best way to get it is from outside the fence, because that it just creates a likelihood that the dogs will be able to give it as much as is possible. But these are young dogs, frustrated dogs, and they're not going to be able to give me behaviors like targeting or staying on the ground or any of that very long, because they're not in a good position to moderate their behavior, and they're just not, and that has to do with the setup that they're living in. So for Christina to hold the food up out of the way, which she's doing because they have knocked that bowl out of her way a few times, what she's doing when she's up in the air like that is she's creating an up in the air target, and that's going to bring the dog's feet up in the air, is going to keep them moving because she's moving, so she's in essence lifting them right off the ground. If she had her hand down, they'd bash the bowl. So the answer to this situation is in managing the body of the dogs differently, with the owner's hands down low so that the target is low, the behavior is predictable. One thing that she's doing really well here is walking quickly instead of standing at the gate. She's moving away, which helps the pups put all 4 feet on the ground because they're going to walk next to her instead of jumping up in the air. That diffuses the energy around the gate a little bit, and it helps. If I was going to walk into something like this and I knew that this behavior is predictable, as I walked in that gate, I would snap onto one of those dogs. I'd have that dog the other side of me from the other dog. I would, by having the ability to snap on, I can have that dog be next to me, and if I'm walking, it's next to me, and the other dog is walking because we're leaving, and I can keep the food bowl down. I can set that bowl down quickly, and the dog that's at liberty will put his nose in it. I can walk away from that one bowl with the dog that's on a leash. I can put her bowl down. I can either leave the leash on or unsnap. I can reinforce the first dog for putting her nose in the bowl. I can reinforce the dog I have on leash for coming with me, for cooperating with me, for, a bunch of things. So I'm going to be creating a verbal thank you very much. This is really, really wonderful as I'm walking with this dog on leash, and I'm going to remember that I'm training both dogs. And I would glance back at the dog who's eating and tell that dog by name, good job, go eat, good job. So I'm training 2 dogs. I'm moving them away from each other. I'm putting them on task with the presence of a bowl as a trained behavior. Again, she's up in the air, and that's going to encourage the dogs to jump and be frantic. They can't get to what they want. They're trying, they're leaping around, and that's none of what she wants. And that's a management situation that she's doing. Moving around is nice because the dogs will put 4 feet on the ground if they're going to walk, but she's also moving the other dog away from the bowl when she's doing that. So this isn't quite exactly the setup that I would be looking for. She's staying with the dogs, which is wonderful. She's standing too close to this dog. She's being really part of the picture, and that's not what the dog needs. She should be an invisible handler. She should be standing far enough away from those dogs that they don't notice her, and not talking to them and just hanging out. Watch this dog. I did watch part of this video. See that dog back up? That is confirmation that she's just too close. So she's taught this dog, you see the hand sign, go eat. She's been working with these dogs and trying to teach them this stuff, but she's too close. She's a big factor in this dog having its meal. This dog over here is on task and eating. She should be glancing at that dog, pointing the finger at the bowl, saying, "Go eat, good dog," because the dog is there. Should be reinforcing verbally every time the dog puts her nose in the bowl. If that dog is going to be the one moving around, she should stand near that dog and not the other one, because her presence near the bowl, not too close, will encourage that dog to stay with her bowl, and it'll give her some security and some guidance. So Christina is doing a great job of staying with these dogs. She's doing a better job with the dog behind her because she's turned away and the dog is less aware of her. So right there, if she walked back to the bowl and talked to that dog, the dog would go with her. The dog glances at the bowl. You can tell the dog's wonderful, and use your body to shape a behavior and make it easier on the dogs. So again, she's too close to this guy, too focused on him. She can feel it. This is a better stance, looking up in the air, being casual, not focused on the dogs that are eating, kind of doing the best to be invisible while supervising is a good idea. This dog that's going back and forth is clearly demonstrating that she needs a little bit of security about food. So targeting to her right there shows me the dogs know how to target, so working on that from outside the fence has a likelihood of being successful. Unless this dog has absolutely finished eating, offering a target and playing with her is inappropriate. She may have finished. That may be what has gone on. But what Christina should have done, when the dog looks like she's busy and she steps away from the bowl, the right thing to do would be to walk close to that dog's bowl, very calmly just stroke the dog and keep the energy low. I would not ask for another cued behavior upon the success of that one. I would let the dog not have to use her brain and just be reinforced for the good work that she did. I would stay by that bowl and not move around, because this has taken the attention of this dog off of that bowl. That dog is going to feel competitive about the cuddles this dog's getting, possibly, so it creates a little bit of a conflict between, do I stay and eat, which I really want to do, or do I want to see what my sister's doing and whatnot. So that is a conflict. So you can see the conflict that this has generated in this dog. Now she's back to the bouncy behavior, which is her MO around a gate. So if Christina wants to support this dog who's trying to do a good job, standing quietly over there, maybe moving around just a little bit, whatever you need to keep the 4 feet of this dog on the ground, is the right thing to do. Whatever she's doing that pops this dog up in the air and makes her fast again is going the wrong direction. So she needs to go back to behaving in the way that allowed the dog to keep calm and her feet on the ground. So this is an operator error here, and the dog is showing that by her change in behavior. If you want calm behavior, set the dog up so that that's what you're likely to get. So she's there because she's interrupting the involvement between these two dogs and food, which is great. That hand target was really appropriate. Keeping her hands on that dog with her back turned to the other dog is appropriate. Fast cuddles like she's doing is winding that dog up. She's adding energy, and that's going to show up when she lets her hands off that dog. That dog's going to be fast, I predict. She hasn't turned and looked at that other dog and congratulated her for a job well done. You're training both dogs. So looking over at the dog who's just acing it and saying, "Nice job, girl," is appropriate. Otherwise, there's no reinforcement other than the food. The food is reinforcing, but in trying to build a partnership and tools with a dog and a person, the person needs to be involved, and saying thank you like that is one way to do it. So her hands off, the dog pops up, which is predictable for a whole bunch of reasons. Hands are up, bowl is up, chargy behavior at the gate. If this happened with me, I would walk away from the gate. I would snap that leash back on that one dog. I might walk a circle or two Around this area with the dog, I would approach to this gate laterally instead of head on, and I would be quick about getting out that gate. And I would not open the gate if the dogs are bouncing. I would stick around until the dogs settle down. If they don't, I'm going to move around in there with them very calmly. If I absolutely can't get that done, then I don't know, there's a number of things, and that problem solving needs to happen after Christina's away from the dogs. If she can't create calm with the dogs through moving around and through her relationship and control of one or both dogs. So we'll see what happens here. She's still carrying that bowl up in the air that is begging those dogs to pop up in the air, which they're good at, and it makes sense. So popping up in the air and being fast is a social invitation. They're saying that they want some social involvement with her. They don't have livestock. She is the livestock. They don't have enough of a job. They're very excited when she shows up because she's a bright spot in a pretty boring day, and so they really, really want her attention. When she pushes the dog back on the ground, the dog gets that attention. So that reinforces the jumping up in the air behavior. It does not help discourage it at all. It encourages the likelihood. I teach my dogs that they can put their feet on gates when I'm on the other side, and I snuggle them if they want snuggles with their feet on the gate. This is legitimate in my opinion, and I think Christina may do this from the course, I don't know, but that is not a problem for me. So the takeaway from this is that because of the stress that these dogs live under and the frustration at not being able to do the job that they are bred to do, makes them difficult candidates to live with, difficult dogs to ask calm behaviors of because they don't feel calm. So the best way to set them up to not do this is to walk up and down the fence line, engage the brains, give them a little bit of time to participate like that. When you go in the gate, snap a lead on one dog, hold the bowls down low. The lead's on one dog, immediately walk over and set that bowl down for the dog that's at liberty. That dog's nose is going to follow the bowl and go there. The dog on leash may be being kibingy still, but with that bowl down, you can immediately walk away, 30 feet maybe, set that other bowl down, congratulate that dog when she glances at it, let her eat, stand far enough away from both dogs that they're not engaged with Christina, but they have a likelihood of being able to successfully eat, and go work on building fences. So I hope this has been illuminating. Again, this is a common situation with LGDs, and the biggest cure is the infrastructure. So thanks for being here. I hope that was helpful.